Item 5.1, notice of motion. Can I ask Councillor Campbell to speak to move this notice of motion, please?
They're here or? Yeah. Five minutes? Yep. Take the item as read, but the workshop was 5.1. Use this opportunity to briefly allude to many of the words rules, exceptions and intentions. This notice of motion was declined last month on the basis it was submitted some hours late due to a misinterpretation by myself of 5 working days. And that was a rule being applied, and it would have been an exception by the chairperson to include this paper last month. The point of this notice of motion is to introduce a rule whereby council workshops and other formal meetings involving elected members always be audio visual recorded, and with exceptions to be documented. With regard to the intention of the October 2023 Ombudsman Review of Council Meetings and Workshop Practices, I read that there was a pretty clear inference for audio-visual recordings of council meetings and workshops to happen where possible. Since then, and nearly 12 months later, audio-visual recording has happened for 0 workshops that I can find, and only a handful of meetings apart from these full monthly council meetings. Quoting the Ombudsman from his own report to this council, it is my expectation and a requirement of the LGA 2002 that a local authority should conduct its business in an open, transparent and democratically accountable manner. There is an expectation that full and accurate records of workshops are kept, and this is also a requirement of the Public Records Act. For the half dozen workshops in August, there are no records available on the council website that I can see. Perhaps they haven't been downloaded yet, but they're not there. That's written records, and only sporadically for others before this date. So it seems to me that we may be in breach of the Public Records Act already. There was an instance where I specifically requested a workshop to be audio-visual recorded. My request was directly refused by you, Your Worship. This was the Tangata Whenua Partnerships in the Taupo District Forms Relationships for Future Opportunities on 8th of August. And my request was on the basis that I felt it was of enough public interest, and I had every reason to believe that the output I presented was not entirely objective. So I would say that one of the Ombudsman's expectations of this council to consider live streaming and audio-visually record workshops, that's his words, was very much on the optimistic side, even bearing in mind our technical challenges, which is probably why the recommendation was so watery. To highlight the importance of audio-visual recordings, nearly all of our meetings and workshops occur during weekday working hours, and it seems we expect only retired or unemployed or highly motivated working people taking time off work to be able to attend in person. An administrator's written record, when it happens, is hardly an adequate substitute, and especially when visual slides are included. With regard to committee meetings and the like, it also needs to be recognised that there is not always universal agreement on many matters, and it is simply not good enough to just put out that elected members decided on this or that by majority decision, in my opinion. People voted us in, so they deserve to see what we get up to and what we stand for. As an aside, and this is my opinion, I maintain that the term workshop can be something of a misnomer, because it implies that all attendees are actively contributing towards a solution. That sometimes happens. But when, in my view, these workshops can really just be a form of staff presentation with limited opportunity for feedback, which sometimes resurfaces a staff paper for elected members to decide something, and with some sort of presumption that it has somehow all been workshopped. There was also one instance where we paid quite handsomely for a consultant to come and present for an hour or two on the topic of car parking in the CBD. The public pay for these workshops. Closing off, we have some technology challenges because of our temporary premises. 5 years or so, however long we've been in these premises can be called temporary. But these council chambers these council chambers do have a workable system right now that can be used every time a workshop meeting is held here. I did ask, sorry, Julie, for information about, because there was a question, I believe, I did request this information before, the amount of hours staff effort required to record a workshop. That was held as a reason why. So I'll ask that question of a carry on, but if you can answer it that as I finish. So to finish off and bring things back to where I started, intentions are clearly not enough to always rely on. So I propose, as per this notice of motion, to introduce a rule whereby every council workshop and formal meetings involving elected members are to be audio-video recorded, unless by exception the mayor and with documented reasons. My expectation is that almost every such meeting in council chambers will be. And I've put my notice of motion, I'm asking for a seconder. There's the scope to amend the wording of it if you understand my intention. I'm open to that anyway. So I suppose that I ask for a seconder. Is that correct?
Thank you. Okay, just before that,
Oh, yeah.
any points of clarification to Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Councillor Campbell. Councillor Greenslade?
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, councillor. Have you had this discussion about your motion with any of the staff? And what was the response?
No, the only staff member I asked requested information from was Julie, the CEO, about how many hours staff effort does it require to actually record each one of these instances. If you are able to, that may have the answer to that question may affect some of the elected members' responses. So do we have an answer to that question, Julie?
Speak at whatever time, but I think.
No, my question was actually to the councillor. Julie, I don't expect you to respond. Thank you.
Councillor Westerman?
I suppose I'm really just querying, because I'm sure you know the answer to this, Councillor Campbell, is we are moving within a matter of months into a new building where the technology will be available readily. So I don't know why you're making this such a complicated process when in a couple of months it's going to be happening as of right. So I don't think we need a rule. So I would just query that.
Councillor Park?
I could answer that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, a bit. Yeah, through the chair. I mean, it's more than just a few months. It's June, July, I think.
It's January.
Anyway, I don't need an answer.
No, well,
It's not a concept.
Okay.
I mean, it's well, if this rule can apply in the new premises too, but I mean, if it could have happened, if it can happen then, it can happen now. I mean,
So Park?
Thank you, Worship. My definition of what a workshop is to that elected member is completely different. Mine is that a workshop is about a presentation of information to help you make full decisions. No decisions should be made in a non-transparent way, and that's why we have full council meetings that are recorded. I agree with Councillor Westerman that to change technology in a building that we only have a lease until later this year is a ridiculous cost to ratepayers. Considering that elected member keeps going on about it, then I'm not happy about that. And also, you posted on Facebook that you thought the Ombudsman was having an off day when he gave a glowing report of Total District Council and how transparent and great they were. So I don't believe what you're saying, so I won't be seconding your motion.
Councillor Taylor?
Question, have you costed out how much it would cost and what the opportunity cost of the staff members involved who would then be diverted from their current duties to being involved in recording this? And can you give us an indication of what that cost would be, given that this is your notice of motion?
no, well, Councillor Taylor, that's exactly what I cannot answer, because that is the information I was exactly asking from our CEO to be provided before this meeting, because I recognise that may be a factor in the decision.
Councillor Rankin?
I don't know if you can answer this, Councillor Campbell, but how many people actually watch the recorded meetings that we currently have? Do we have any numbers on it? You know?
Oh, offhand, sorry.
Because it's a heck of a cost if it's 5 people or something.
So it's more than, no, it's in the,
currently one, currently.
That's staff.
Oh, that's the start.
Yeah, they can't live now, so,
When yes, they can watch this live.
Councillor Fletcher?
Actually, that was my question, based around how many people on average have watched the live stream over the
For construction work.
last 6 months. I could probably give a rough estimate,
we're
that's
part of
just
an
around
industry, looks
100
like.
views, but that's not including how many people watch the lives of the stream all the way through, which I think would be significantly lower. So I don't see the purpose of us then having to record.
Yeah, oh, what did it say?
Record also workshops, because there are a lot of workshops also held off-site as well. Logistically, what does that look like? So we have to set up cameras. in order to
Or
record those workshops.
yeah,
Do we
or
have
the property.
a view of what that
The
costs?
property.
I don't see what
Up
the
there,
dollar
can't do
budget-
it.
Yeah, which is the reason behind why we're seeking this.
Thank you, councillor Fletcher. Okay, any other questions? Councillor
yeah, I'll just, my expectation is not, additional cost of hardware. Practically speaking, my expectation is that certainly in, instances happening in these chambers, has the equipment set up, that would be, there would be no reason not to be doing this. But again, I wait for our CEO's answer about the cost involved in just staff time, or because that seems to be the only effort required as far as I can tell.
Thank you, councillor Campbell. So your motion is still there on the agenda. Would you like to move that?
Oh, was the chair, could we get an answer from CEO before?
I don't,
Well,
yeah, what was the actual question again about the cost?
So,
the staff time and effort required to record such a workshop,
so
1 hour workshop, yeah.
So
Are
perhaps
you
if I'm
happy
happy
to
to
answer
answer some questions and perhaps they're helpful. So firstly, from my perspective, we are not long for this building. We are probably exiting here before we move into the new building. And so therefore investment in IT and investment in the way we're working in this facility is not worth the money all the time, because we're not long for here. And we certainly want to be able to live stream our meetings when we move into the new building. And that's been the intention that we've advised to the Ombudsman. My take in terms of staff time is it's not so much the actual time for doing this, but it's the trade-off in terms of the time that they would be doing. We're very lucky in terms of our comms team to have some awesome specialist skills, and acknowledging some of the team that are in the room today. My take is that they spend their time providing videos and digital content that's actually explaining to our community what we're doing and why, and we get great feedback on the videos and the work that we do. When we look at the time that would be spent doing council meetings, on average since June this year, we've had 88 views in our council meetings. Across those, some of those have been higher than others, and they've been mostly the LTP meetings. Some of our meetings have been down to about 22 views when they've been uploaded on YouTube. I'd also just like to clarify the comment around workshops. I've just been advised that in the recording since June last year, 32 of those that have been uploaded on YouTube have been workshops. So where there has been public interest and meetings, where there has been public interest, we have made an exception and videoed those and placed these on YouTube. The way we're working currently is that each month we get a list of upcoming meetings and workshops, and when we believe that there's particular public interest, we make those recorded and put up on YouTube, and by default all council meetings are also recorded up and placed on YouTube. I personally believe that that's meeting the demands at the moment from our community, and of course all our workshops are open and they're advertised on the website unless they're closed for reasons under Lagoima.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Powell.
Yes, sorry, just through the chair, and to reiterate, all meetings are published in newspapers and on the website and are mostly open except for reasons under Lagoima for any member of the public to attend.
Thank you. Okay, councillor, oh, sorry, someone else? John. Oh, councillor Williamson, sorry.
Thank you, Worship. I just want to reiterate, I think with the Duncan's last paragraph, quoting, given the transparency of decision making, all the workshops and meetings are all be available online. It doesn't have no impact on whether about the transparency of decision making is always transparent, whatever way you look at it. So I just agree with the comments regarding, I think Councillor Western started off a few months ago, and following up Julie's comments, the time factor, that I would support waiting. I support them going on being recorded eventually, but I think it can wait till move to the new building. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor, back to Councillor Campbell, your motion.
Well,
Can you read out your motion, then I'll ask for a seconder.
I'll reiterate just briefly that I'm not expecting additional investment in equipment. It was merely to make better use of what we do have, certainly in these council chambers, and none of the workshops have been video recorded that I could find this past since the Ombudsman review on that. Anyway, I'll move it. Do I have a seconder? Right.
It's been moved by Councillor Campbell. Do we have a seconder, please? No, the motion is lost. Thank you. 5.2,